From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Good morning, and thanks for starting your day with us. Today is Saturday, June 7th. I'm Kelsey Thorid. Well, here is a look at what's happening today around the Bay. Relief may be in sight for utility customers as their PG&E bills keep rising. Two measures that cleared the state Senate this week are meant to create changes in energy markets. One would have the state pour more money from its emissions cap and trade program into bill relief for customers. Another would enable California to join a shared energy market with as many as 10 other Western states and a move that its backers say could also lead to lower rates. While federal funding for the University of California may be in jeopardy, the Trump administration reportedly is considering the elimination of a wide array of grants to California, including for higher education. California relies heavily on federal funding to run both the UC and California State University systems. State officials say they have yet to receive official notification of any cuts. Well, the Giant Peak Triangle is coming back to San Francisco's Twin Peaks in honor of Pride Month. The outline was visible on Friday, and volunteers will set up the triangle itself today. Members of the LGBTQ community will join city leaders for today's installation. Okay, let's go right out to our meteorologist, Zoe Mitza. Zoe, it's a nice day to be setting up that triangle, seems like.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be gorgeous out there this afternoon. If you liked yesterday and the day before and the day before and the day before, basically every single day this week.
I liked it.
It's been gorgeous out there. It's boring on my part because there's not too many changes on the way, but today might be a degree or two warmer than yesterday. The fog is definitely thicker than what we felt yesterday morning. But what a beautiful sunrise. If you are above the clouds, like here on top of Black Mountain, you see that fog moving kind of like a river. It just reminds you that the atmosphere is a fluid and it moves like one. So the clouds continuing to move around like a river as the sun continues to rise. Beautiful colors on the horizon. It's honestly all I want to look at because once we head into San Francisco, it's cloudy, it's dreary. It's that typical June gloom that we're used to seeing this time of year. And it's going to stick around at least throughout the early morning hours, so don't expect to see a beautiful sunrise here. Temperatures, though, nice and mild, sitting in the mid-50s, maybe upper 50s, kind of depending on where you're located, but very similar to what we felt yesterday at this time. It's really interesting that you can see all of that fog that continues to be building in to the areas in the valleys, and most of the Bay, in fact, is seeing a pretty thick layer of fog that's only built in just the past couple of hours. This afternoon, though, all of this fog is going to continue to peel back to the coast, and we'll all begin to see a bit warmer temperatures than yesterday. I'll let you know how long they'll stick around for coming up in my full forecast. Back to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Zoe. Well, Barbara Lee will celebrate her public inauguration as Oakland's new mayor tomorrow, making history as the city's first Black woman to hold the job. Just 2 weeks into her term, Lee is already tackling budget challenges. She reversed a $1.7 million increase to her office budget proposal made by her interim predecessor. She is asking the city to drop that increase. Now, she says, quote, "My top priority is ensuring that every line in this budget serves Oakland residents as effectively as possible. Because this spending plan was drafted before I took office, I respectfully request that the mayor's office classifications and staffing budget be reduced to their previous levels."
In the grand scheme of things, that amount of money means nothing in a regular situation. But in this situation, every dollar counts.
Now, Mayor Lee's decision to drop the staff pay raise amid Oakland's $245 million budget crisis earned praise from city officials and residents who want fiscal responsibility. Over in Walnut Creek, they are stepping up its game to attract more tourists, but some neighbors are raising questions about privacy. The city's Chamber of Commerce is now tracking visitor patterns to better target marketing efforts. The Walnut Creek Chamber teamed up with a company called Arrivalist to monitor mobile devices that stay in the city for at least 2 hours. They're not collecting personal information. They say just data on where visitors go and how they spend their money. Some city leaders and privacy experts say the tracking seems harmless, but warn about how such technology could be used elsewhere. The chamber says the data only helps guide marketing, not surveillance.
So this device must be in Walnut Creek for at least 2 hours to be considered a visitor. That is included in visitation data we receive. We do not track all devices. Walnut Creek resident that's here for a protracted period of time, that's never come from outside, no. We're not interested in that data. We're only interested in visitors.
This all comes down to the data we already share through our phones. Companies like Arrivalist purchase information from data brokers who collect it from the apps that we download. So Arrivalist is part of a much larger data gathering system. A well-known chain is moving into San Francisco's Fillmore district, but not everybody is on board. The city's planning commission just approved a Nordstrom local for a long vacant spot on Fillmore and California, but don't expect another sprawling retail space. The concept store lets customers handle online pickups, returns, and tailoring, but critics like the Pacific Heights Residents Association say it will clog traffic and won't help nearby shops. Others, including some local business owners, say it's worth a shot after years of vacancy.
It's creating a situation where people will pull up to just run in for a moment.
Just because that spot has been vacant for a really long time and seeing it filled would be a nice change. And, you know, I do have concerns, but I think we have to kind of test it to see. And the neighborhood is changing, and I would like to see that storefront filled.
Nordstrom closed its much larger store at the Westfield Mall back in 2023. All of San Francisco's new speed cameras are now up and running at 33 intersections around the city. They are designed to capture license plate numbers of speeding cars and automatically send out tickets. A whopping 31,000 warnings were sent out in April alone, and that was before the entire network went online. Those drivers were caught going at least 11 miles over the speed limit. SFMTA says the numbers are trending downward the longer the cameras are up. Safety advocates say it's about time the cameras were deployed. So far, 8 pedestrians have been killed this year in San Francisco.
Drivers need to slow down because people's lives are at stake. These are moms that don't get to hug their child at the end of the day, or, never see their grandparent again. And these are real people's lives, and it could happen to anyone.
The speed cameras are still issuing warnings. Fines will start on August 5th. The city installed the cameras after a state law passed 2 years ago. San Jose and Oakland were also authorized, but have yet to install them. Okay, now taking a look at all the events happening around the Bay this weekend. Tonight at the Coliseum, the Oakland Roots hit the pitch at 7 p.m., just days after a major shakeup on the sidelines. The club fired its head coach, Gavin Glinton, and assistant Jesse Cormier on Monday, despite last season's playoff run. The front office says this year's results fell short. A new head coach will be announced soon. Staying in the East Bay, San Leandro is celebrating its sweet tradition this weekend with the annual Cherry Festival. It kicks off this morning with a parade at 10, followed by a day of music, vendors, local vendors, food, and of course, all of those cherries. Today's festival runs until 6 p.m. in the downtown area. You can also head to Richmond for the Rosie Rally with 1940s music, dancing, food, and fun, all honoring the legacy of Rosie the Riveter, the symbolic female ship worker during World War II. And across the Bay in San Francisco, SF Porch Fest is back. Head to the Mission District for an afternoon of live music on porches, stoops, and backyards. It's a free event celebrating the city's creativity and diversity. Today is California's Adopt a Pet Day. More than 150 shelters are taking part, including spots in Napa, Silicon Valley, San Francisco, and Berkeley. They are waiving or reducing adoption fees to help thousands of pets find new homes. Okay, coming up, are robo-taxis getting smarter? We take a ride with an expert who says Waymos are acting more human than ever.
I have to agree with that statement. I'll talk about it coming up. I'll also talk about the weather. Everyone wants to know what it's going to be this weekend, and it's honestly going to be really, really nice out there. A beautiful sunrise. This is our view from on top of Black Mountain, where you see some thick fog that's continuing across our Santa Clara Valley communities. I'll let you know how long it's going to stick around for coming up.
Welcome back. The time now is 6:13. Well, robo-taxis are likely here to stay, and they are starting to act more like people-driven cars than you might think. New research from the University of San Francisco shows the self-driving vehicles are adapting to local driving behavior. The professor behind the studies spoke with our Kevin Coe about how Waymos are driving more like humans.
Super exciting time in the world of transportation, as you're kind of experiencing right now, Kevin.
I'm in a Waymo speaking with USF professor William Riggs, who's been researching self-driving cars since 2015.
What we do see is that the vehicles are becoming more naturalistic drivers. That does not mean that they violate the rules of the road, but it means that they engage in more humanistic driving behaviors.
Waymos have been criticized for what some may call being overly cautious. We've seen them block emergency vehicles and get confused navigating city streets. But according to Riggs, the technology is evolving. He says Waymos are now more assertive on the road, mimicking human behaviors. Waymo sent us this video showing the autonomous car honking at a garbage truck backing up, slowly reversing while navigating a lane closure, and even suddenly braking when a motorcyclist crashes in front of it.
They can actually make judgments that actually improve safety. They can potentially do things that normal human drivers just do based on instincts. We find that the driver is actually perhaps more human than we realize. And I think it's a very interesting thing, that these drivers are becoming perhaps even more better drivers than we would be.
According to Waymo, its cars never stop learning, gathering data on the road. Riggs says Waymos have improved in path prediction and anticipation, while also adopting human traits and instincts without the emotions.
Humans are overconfident, and we believe we are better drivers than we are.
However, Waymos and other autonomous cars can still be timid. My Waymo stopped as a Zoox, Amazon's robo-taxi, was trying to pull out from the curb. Both autonomous cars stopped, while other cars drove by on the other side. As the standoff continued, the Tesla behind us got sick of waiting and went into the opposite lane to pass us both. We were eventually on our way, but it wasn't exactly assertive. Still, Riggs says the key is the technology is moving closer to a solution that gets us where we need to go efficiently while removing human error and irrationality.
I'll be honest. I think the days of human driving are the days are numbered in terms of human driving. It's driving a 6,000-pound vehicle is not something a human should be engaged in. It's a dangerous enterprise.
It hasn't exactly been a smooth ride for Waymo. Recently, the company recalled more than 1,200 of its autonomous vehicles because faulty software was causing cars like this to crash. Still, Riggs says this latest development shows the technology is improving and growing one trip at a time.
Wow, fascinating. I know, Zoe, and I was captivated at Kevin there. We've talked about it, Waymos. I think they're pretty safe.
I think they are too. I last time I was in it, I genuinely thought, I was like, is somebody in a room somewhere, like overseas, driving my car right now? Because it genuinely felt like it was a person driving, but in a good way.
I was going to say, if it felt like a person, I don't know.
No, in a good way. Like, okay, so it took a left turn on a one-way street on red.
Oh.
And I was like, I don't even know if I would take a left turn on a one-way on red. I mean, it's legal.
That's true, yeah.
But I mean,
Smarties.
Got me there quicker, so I'll take it. Either way, wherever you're going this afternoon, you can be able to enjoy a lot of sunshine once this fog burns off. Because, yeah, we're going to continue to see quite a lot of that fog to kick off our early morning. And that fog is a bit lower and a bit thicker than it was yesterday across most of the Bay Area. Temperatures, though, very similar to what we woke up to yesterday, sitting in the mid to upper 50s across most of the Bay, mid to lower 50s down across our coastal communities and North Bay communities. By the afternoon, though, we are all going to be seeing the fog from this morning continuing to peel back, although it might take a little bit longer today for those foggier conditions to officially lift, especially for places like San Francisco and over into Oakland and the direct path of those onshore winds being funneled through the Golden Gate. So this afternoon, again, our high temperatures are going to be really nice. If you've liked the past couple of days, you're going to love it today. They're going to be in the mid to lower 60s along our coastal communities that are still dealing with that thicker layer of fog and cloud coverage, while inland areas going to be heating up. In fact, we'll be mid to upper 80s across our inland East Bay communities. I promise you that's not a 59. That is just some weird glitch that this system does. Let's pull those numbers back up. There we go, 86 degrees. That sounds like a much more reasonable high temperature this afternoon for our inland East Bay communities. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 70s to low 80s around the Bay. And here in San Francisco, mid to upper 60s. Hey, it's seasonable. It's what we expect for this time of year. But we are going to continue to see slightly cooler weather and stronger onshore winds. And something that I really want to highlight is as we step out over the next couple of days, we are going to continue to see, look at that, the onshore winds ushering in slightly cooler temperatures. You notice those areas in yellow directly align with the area near the Golden Gate, directly align with those onshore winds being funneled through, and directly align with slightly cooler conditions that are being ushered in by those onshore winds just around the Bay Area. So you can just see how impactful that onshore flow is and keeping our temperatures cooler here in the Bay. And again, that's exactly what we're going to be seeing as we step out into tomorrow afternoon. The stronger onshore flow, keeping those temperatures a bit cooler for areas, especially in the direct path of the Golden Gate. Highs tomorrow afternoon are going to be sitting seasonable still, but maybe a degree or two cooler than today. We'll still be sitting in the mid to lower 80s across our inland East Bay communities, but our coastal communities will be in the upper 50s to low 60s, and even in San Francisco, we'll be in the low 60s versus upper 60s tomorrow. All things to kind of just keep an eye on as we step out over the next several days. There's really not going to be all too many changes on the way. Temperatures are going to stay nice and seasonable within about 5 degrees of average each and every day for at least the next 7. You do notice it might not be a degree or two above average, though, as we step out mid next week. It might be a degree or two below average, but still, for this time of year, this is nothing too crazy. Winds each and every day are going to continue to usher in that early morning fog. That early morning fog will give way to afternoon sunshine for most of the Bay. If you live along our coastal communities, we are going to be seeing that marine layer that's going to continue to hug us in each and every morning. It might dissipate a little bit by the afternoon, but you'll probably have to drive inland if you do want to see more sunshine.
It's a landmark change in college sports. Athletes can now get paid directly by their schools. A federal judge just approved a massive NCAA settlement that rewrites the rules. Starting on July 1st, colleges can share up to $20.5 million a year with their athletes under a new 10-year revenue model. The NCAA and major conferences will also pay $2.8 billion in back damages to former players. The move ends the NCAA's amateur-only system and shifts oversight to a new college sports commission. Okay, coming up, a man who was deported to El Salvador by mistake is back in the U.S., but now the feds are charging Fillmore Abrego Garcia with serious crimes. And chaotic scenes play out in downtown Los Angeles during protests against federal immigration raids, the measures that L.A. police ended up using to dispense the crowds.
And it's a foggy start to the day across the Bay here in San Francisco. You cannot even see the top of the Golden Gate Bridge. That's how you know the fog is definitely low, but it's kind of what we expect this time of year. I'll let you know what you can expect for the rest of this weekend coming up in just a bit.
From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Morning Edition.
Welcome back. The time now is 6:30. Thanks for joining us. I'm Kelsey Thorne, joined by meteorologist Zoe Metz. Zoe, we've been talking all morning. I feel like the weather has been really nice.
Beautiful, beautiful weather the past several days. The first full week of June, it's felt like how it should. Which is like that sweet spot. I feel like it never actually feels like how it should. It's always too hot. It's always too cold. It's been just right all week. It's been that Goldilocks effect. And I hope everybody's gotten out and enjoyed themselves. And if you haven't, don't you worry. It is going to be just as beautiful this weekend as high pressure continues to dominate the entirety of the western half of the United States. We're still looking at that daily round of onshore fog as multiple little areas of low pressure continue to make their way along the west coast of the United States. And notice all the way up to our north, there's a swirling area of low pressure. This is not going to be heading our way. This is traveling up and along the jet stream that's keeping all of the active weather away from the west coast of the United States. And that's really good news for us. When it comes to enjoying the outdoors, when it comes to enjoying the weather, we should be able to, again, with clear skies in the upper levels of the atmosphere. It's just that low-hanging fog, that marine layer that continues to fill in our valley communities. And taking it even closer to San Francisco again, we're looking at quite a lot of that fog early this morning. Visibility issues shouldn't be anything too unbearable. Temperatures right now sitting in the mid-50s. This is what we were feeling yesterday. Very, very similar to what we've been waking up to every single day this week. I'll let you know how long this very typical June weather pattern will stick around for, how long we'll stay in that sweet spot for, coming up in just a bit. Back to you.
Sounds great. Thanks, Zoe. Well, a man who was mistakenly deported to a prison in El Salvador earlier this year is now back on U.S. soil. The case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia has raised constitutional questions about the Trump administration's use of power. But Abrego Garcia is now facing new federal charges. Bradley Blackburn has more.
Kilmar Abrego Garcia has been brought back to the U.S. from El Salvador to face new charges he conspired to operate an MS-13 trafficking ring.
You got a bunch of people here, don't you?
Transporting undocumented Central American migrants into the U.S.
The grand jury found that over the past 9 years, Abrego Garcia has played a significant role in an alien smuggling ring. They found this was his full-time job. Not a contractor. He was a smuggler of humans and children and women.
The charges are the latest twist in a case that has twisted Washington. In March, the 29-year-old was flown to a notorious prison in his native El Salvador in what the White House later admitted was a mistake. But for months, the Trump administration refused to correct it, despite a Supreme Court order to facilitate his return.
Nothing will change the fact that Abrego Garcia will never be a Maryland father. He will never live in the United States of America again.
Friday night, President Trump was asked about the return.
He should have never had to be returned.
Abrego Garcia appeared in federal court in Tennessee Friday. His attorneys say they will fight the new charges vigorously.
What happened today is the exact opposite of due process, because due process means the opportunity to defend yourself before you're punished, not afterwards.
Abrego Garcia is set to be back in court again next week.
Well, back here in California, tensions exploded in downtown Los Angeles on Friday after ICE conducted surprise raids on immigrant workers. Protests broke out and the scene grew chaotic as federal agents moved in. The agents detained more than 40 people across several locations, including a clothing warehouse and a Home Depot parking lot. Protesters, labor leaders, and city officials called the raids cruel and unnecessary attacks on immigrant families. The president of a major union was injured and detained while documenting the raids. Police declared unlawful assemblies and used pepper spray after some protesters clashed with officers. The raids by ICE began hours earlier at midday, targeting workers suspected of using false documents. Flashbang grenades and pepper spray were used to control crowds. City leaders condemned the federal crackdown and vowed to protect immigrant communities amid the federal push for mass deportations. Now to the latest on the feud between President Trump and his formerly close confidant, Elon Musk. On Friday, Musk posted about potentially starting a new political party, which he says should represent the 80% of people in the middle. A day earlier, Musk and Trump traded insults and threats on social media. Then on Friday, the president told CBS News he is focused on domestic and foreign policy. White House officials say Trump is not interested in having a call with Musk and sees Musk as, quote, immature and acting out. Now, Musk's federal SpaceX contracts worth billions of dollars may be in jeopardy.
Well, we'll take a look at everything. I look at everything. He's got a lot of money. He gets a lot of subsidy. So we'll take a look at that. Only if it's fair. Only if it's fair for him and for the country. I would certainly think about it, yeah, but it has to be fair.
President Trump says China will start selling rare earth minerals to the U.S. again, signaling a shift in a tense trade standoff. Trump told reporters that after a 90-minute phone call with China's president, the two leaders agreed to resume rare earth exports, materials that are vital for phones, cars, and jets. Trump says they cleared up past confusion, but China's version of the call does not mention minerals at all. The White House has yet to release its readout as promised. In the Russia-Ukraine conflict, Kharkiv in northern Ukraine has just endured its worst attack since the war began. That's where Russian forces launched a massive overnight drone and missile strike. At least 40 explosions rocked the city earlier today, killing at least 3 people and injuring more than 20. The missiles and drones damaged homes and sparked multiple fires. This follows days of intense attacks across Ukraine as Moscow retaliates for recent Ukrainian strikes in Russia. Ukrainian officials say some of the incoming drones were shot down while others hit civilian areas. Emergency crews are racing to find survivors amid the rubble. Officials report that 2 children are among the injured. The city is bracing for more attacks while rescue teams stay active, trying to help anyone affected. Okay, coming up, 2 of San Francisco's best-known museums have special attractions, including a display of floral fashion and a social gathering called Late Night Editions. We'll talk live with the director of the events. Well, June, of course, is Pride Month, and here at CBS News Bay Area, we are highlighting the triumphs as well as some of the struggles within the LGBTQ community. One of those struggles involves the search for housing in San Francisco. Suji Nam introduces us to William Anthony, who says he was facing housing discrimination until the Abode program stepped in.
I live in this kitchen. So I cook here, I do a lot of baking. It's really fun.
William Anthony moved into this apartment in San Francisco 2 years ago, and he loves it.
This is where I'll answer emails. I use my laptop to edit short films and school projects, also to get paperwork done for work.
He's a paraeducator for the San Francisco School District and is also studying cinema in college.
This is for Special Olympics. This is some of my students got these awards.
Anthony said, however, his journey getting here wasn't easy. After his brother passed away, he moved to Brazil to be with family. But with unforeseen circumstances, he accumulated debt. In hopes for a better future, he moved to San Francisco. But Anthony said, as a gay man with a disability, his housing search was a struggle.
Being profiled, having people automatically assume I'd be a nightmare tenant, having people just make assumptions about me.
But he found help.
Cool. Yeah.
Julia Parmer is the senior program manager for Abode, a housing nonprofit that serves low-income and unhoused families.
We got him plugged in with a service coordinator, case manager, and a housing specialist.
Anthony is one of more than 2,500 Abode clients receiving housing resources. But while he got the help, that's not the case for many others. The city faces a crisis with the unhoused in the LGBTQ+ community. According to the San Francisco 2024 homelessness point-in-time count, 28% of the more than 950 people surveyed in the homeless community identify as LGBTQ+. And the statistic is higher for the unhoused youth. 38% identified as LGBTQ+ and younger than 18 years old.
A landlord might just look at the application and say, forget it. And so that's sort of where we come in, is we build those partnerships with landlords out in the community so that we know who we can go to, and we sort of have a stock of housing.
But through programs like Abode, community members are helping more people like Anthony get the help they need.
They were a blessing. I feel like God sent them for me.
Abode helped pay off Anthony's debt and moved him into his apartment. That's now become a safe space where he shares many laughs with friends.
Don't let labels define you. We are so much more than whatever group society puts us in.
Anthony says he is grateful for the help and plans to pay it forward.
Okay, it looks like we got some of our technical issues worked out. We are joined again by Carrie Montgomery to talk about some of the cool art installations coming to the DeYoung and the Legion of Honor. So, Carrie, let's talk again. I was asking you just to kind of give us a little bit of an overview of what these 2 exhibits are.
Absolutely. Well, we are so thrilled to welcome back the 41st annual Bouquets to Art. This year is super special since we are celebrating the Legion of Honor's 100th birthday. We will have floral displays at both the DeYoung and the Legion of Honor. So we have The incredible creativity and talent showcased of over 100 floral designers. About 25 of them are at the Legion of Honor, and a little over 80 are at the DeYoung. So if you are an art lover, a flower lover, you definitely have to come check out the museums this week. The exhibition is on view until this Sunday, the 8th at 5:30 p.m. So if you are missing your favorites at the Legion, Claude Monet's water lilies, you can see them interpreted in a new light. There's also a really beautiful and stunning interactive exhibition by Raul Dueñas interpreting Auguste Rodin's The Gates of Hell in the Rodin Galleries at the Legion of Honor. So there is something really around every corner for Bouquets to Art running until this Sunday. Tickets are $44, and it also gets you access to all of these special exhibitions that are on view at the DeYoung and the Legion. And then on Thursday, we are kicking off a new summer event, Late Night Editions. There will be an immersive spellbinding exhibition, Isaac Julian, I Dream a World. We will have 4 food trucks out front and 7 DJs throughout the galleries, outside on the Sculpture Garden and inside in Willsey Court with some nostalgic photo booths. So grab a date or just come after work and really come and enjoy the museum's late night. So we're super excited to kick this off, and hopefully it'll be a series moving forward if we've got the excitement. So we're really hoping to see everyone there. You can go to famsf.org for tickets. And the tickets are $30 for late night editions. So lots to see at the museums, and we really hope to see you there.
Yeah, it sounds really fun. You know, I can only imagine with the floral installation how good it must make the museum smell. Yeah?
It completely does. You kind of get immersed in all of the senses when you walk through. I was fortunate enough to be there on setup day to see all of the floral exhibitors just dropping in their blooms, and it's quite an immersive experience, and it's something that you really can't miss. So definitely come and check it out.
And I know the events at the DeYoung, the kind of late night, that's become a trendy thing among art exhibits to get people, you know, in, maybe older crowds, away from the kids. Is that kind of like, are you guys going like a date night theme?
You know, we'd love to go a date night theme. Cal Academy has been doing late nights across the street, and we're so thankful that we're on a Thursday. So if you have the extra energy, you can pop over to the DeYoung and then maybe even pop over to Cal Academy. Hoping to get, you know, a younger audience, folks who really want to come out and enjoy the music, enjoy the Sculpture Garden, grab a cocktail, and just experience, you know, your museums in a different light. So this is hopefully something new that we will continue lots throughout the summer and maybe even to the fall.
Yeah, that sounds like so much fun. You know, I've been to a couple of those events. I love all the museums. It's great how many there are here in the city and what all you guys are doing. Carrie Montgomery, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we got to head out to some of those. That looks fun.
Thank you. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope to see all of you there next week at the museums or catch BTA before it ends this Sunday.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, Zoe, joining us back out here to talk weather now. But, you know, it's a great day to go to a museum, great day outside. You know, the DeYoung, they have outdoor installations, all of those museums. So.
Maybe Palettes of Fine Arts, do something free outdoors, or just head on over to the beach if you don't mind a little bit of fog to start off the day.
I was going to say, is that going to break up at any time?
I mean, for parts of it, it's not going to be necessarily a sunny day along the beach, but is it ever a sunny day in June? That June gloom is always holding on tight, and we're going to continue to see it at least for our coastal communities, inland areas. We're beginning to see that first light of the sunrise, and that lets you know that the fog should be burning off over the next couple of hours. It's great news if you want to soak up some sunshine this afternoon. Here in San Francisco, though, it might take a little bit longer for this fog to burn off. It's going to be late morning, early afternoon, because it's a lot thicker than what it was yesterday. You can see it's covering the top of the Transamerica Pyramid, and it's keeping our temperatures mild, mid-50s across most of the Bay Area, low 50s in Santa Rosa, upper 50s in San Jose. Kind of just depends on where you're located, but everybody's going to be seeing a lot of sunshine this afternoon. But again, notice our coastal communities still seeing a little bit more of those marine layers and foggier conditions. and that's kind of going to be the name of the game. So if you want to soak up more sunshine, head on a bit farther inland. But either way, if you want to enjoy some really lovely conditions out there today, I hope you can soak up some sunshine. Temperatures are going to be warmer inland as usual. These microclimates are in full force this time of year. High temperatures are going to be in the 80s across our inland East Bay communities and down into the Santa Clara Valley, a degree or two within what we felt yesterday. Mid to lower 80s to upper 70s around the Bay, and then the closer to the coast you get, the cooler it gets. Will be in the low 60s in San Francisco, mid to upper 60s. Again, it is similar to what we felt yesterday, maybe a degree or two cooler because we are going to continue to see the onshore flow picking up. And onshore flow actually is keeping temperatures even farther inland, even cooler. So let's show you our temperatures through tomorrow afternoon and look at the onshore flow just below my feet, keeping the temperatures cooler. The areas in yellow signify cooler temperatures. And look at how impactful that onshore flow is. It's impacting basically the entirety of California to the Sierra. That's how strong it is. That's how impactful our weather is in the Bay Area just because of the onshore winds. And that's the reason that our temperatures are a lot more mild here, especially compared to other locations. So again, this afternoon, if you have any plans, you should be good to go. Tomorrow afternoon, if you have any plans, you should be good to go. You just might see a little bit more of some windier conditions waking up early tomorrow morning, maybe with a little bit of coastal drizzle or mist. Keep that in mind. It's not going to be anything impactful. It's not going to be rain, but hey, it's going to be something when it comes to moisture. We'll take what we can get. Inland areas going to be seeing plenty of sunshine, but you might notice our North Bay communities dealing with a little bit more cloud coverage tomorrow afternoon, as there are going to be some thunderstorms that will be bubbling up over the Sierra. Those thunderstorms not going to be impacting us, but a little bit of that cloud coverage could be heading our way, especially again across northern and inland East Bay communities. That same pattern is going to stick around into early next week as well, waking up with early morning fog giving away to afternoon sunshine each and every day. Little to no changes, no chances for rain. It's that typical June pattern that we're used to seeing, although temperatures might get a bit cooler by the time that we step out next week across our inland areas. Instead of low 80s, we'll be in the upper 70s. It's not necessarily going to feel cooler by any means, but it is kind of going to be trending slightly cooler. Either way, I hope you all can get out and enjoy yourself this weekend, and if not, these really lovely conditions are going to stick around. Back to you. And we're looking at a beautiful weekend ahead of us. If you've loved the weather the past couple of days, you're going to love it this weekend. Low 80s sticking around with sunshine each and every afternoon, although you might notice behind me it's still a little bit foggy to kick off our day. Every morning we're going to be waking up to fog that's going to give way to afternoon sunshine. So I hope you all can get out and enjoy yourselves, whether or not you live inland or closer to our coastal communities that might be dealing with a little bit more of that marine layer that is kind of going to stick around and hug you tight throughout this afternoon. If you want to enjoy some more sunshine, head on farther inland. If you don't mind a little bit of that onshore flow and fogginess, head on over to the coast this weekend. Honestly, it's not going to be too bad. So Kelsey, what would you prefer, coast or inland area with more sunshine and heat? I think I already know the answer.
I was going to say, I feel like we talk enough that I'm a sunshine gal, so I got to get inland. I need some of those 80s.
Exactly.
I'm tired of the 60s.
I'm the same way.
Okay, this is a fun story. So if you grew up loving Where the Wild Things Are, like I did and probably Zoe, you're in for a treat.
Yes, the art and collectibles from the author Maurice Sendak are now up for auction in New York City. Christie's is selling more than 100 original pieces that belong to Sendak, including his own artwork and the inspirations behind his timeless stories. They also include works by artists like William Blake and George Stubbs, who influenced Sendak's creative vision.
And the auction runs online through June 12th with a live event on June 10th, his birthday. Sendak died in 2012 at 83. All proceeds from the auction will benefit the Maurice Sendak Foundation and its artistic programs. It's a chance to own a piece of literary history and celebrate the legacy of the prominent children's book writer. You know, Zoe, I'm not going to lie, when I was younger, Where the Wild Things Are, it did kind of spook me a little. It was a little scary.
Okay, so I was going to say that same exact thing. There's one part from the movie, There was also a movie.
I know, I haven't even seen the movie
either. It kind of freaked me out. But there's one part in the book. So it's like the little boy, he escapes from his room and he goes and hangs out with the wild things, but he hides inside of one of them's mouths.
I think I remember.
Do you remember that? It
Yeah.
gave me nightmares when I was younger. It still gives me nightmares to this day.
know.
But that's really cool. I feel like he has some really cool artwork, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I bet his artwork's great. And I mean, clearly it was a very successful book. I remember it, you know? And it's, I mean, I'm saying it's a talent to scare me with a picture book.
Yes, you're not wrong. Although my favorite movie growing up was Coraline.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a pretty scary one. So I do
then.
like a good spooky story. So either way, a great day to read a book outside, soak up the sunshine, whether or not it's where the wild things are.
Yeah, okay. Well, coming up on our Saturday showcase at 7, a dispute over where to build new housing in one of the most affluent communities in the Bay Area and the nation. We'll take you to the lots at the center of the debate in Menlo Park. And a hopeful trend in an underserved area in San Francisco as businesses go from temporary to permanent in the Bayview.